And she was basically arguing reform are just trying to protect their cultural identity, right? And then somebody in the comments said, what I was kind of saying, all they're doing is they're doing their culture of blame the foreigners. That's what reform. I would like anybody, I mean, either of you, anybody out there to tell me what reform stands for outside of it's the foreigners. Like,
I think what's interesting here is the cultural context. So we can view what we might call the far right now, what we used to call the far right, as less far right now because we've got a big drive towards that far right leaning view now. But we can say that that these views are inspired by racist ideals that come from a power structure. Hold on, what was the point?
I think reform means to change something.
That's it. The politics of it. So there's a political way that we view this as nationalism and patriotism, and I think culturally we will view nationalism and patriotism in the West as far right leaning and racist, whereas the argument, the counter argument would be we don't see black nationalism and black patriotism as necessarily racist. And it's the same thing that brings up the point from before. I think when you deal with nationalism and patriotism in the West, we will view that as having a history of racism. And I think what we're actually speaking about is nationalism and patriotism being perceived as a negative thing because of the history of whatever nationality or whatever kind of patriotic, whatever flag you bear. I always get, when I see the British flag out and it's not football, I see that household as having right-leaning racist views. Now they could just argue themselves as we're patriotic, we've not got nationalism, but actually I will see that attached to a history of racism.
Even they see that.
If the game football ain't playing and you've got that big Union Jack or the King George outside, I'll be looking at the household as potentially holding certain views.
You might do, yeah.
No,
whereas I wouldn't see if I saw a red, gold and green, or if I saw a Jamaican flag, I'm not going to think of anything that's loaded with racist perceptions. I'm going to say that's the person that's proud of their country.
Yeah,
I'm with you. No, this is a thing they've commented on. I've heard many people say on the LBC where they feel like the St. George's flag needs to be taken back and it doesn't represent all that stuff. But I'm making a slightly different point here when I'm talking about reform, because literally like I say, somebody was talking about reform representing just trying to protect cultural identity. I've asked in the comments, tell me what they represent outside of blame the foreigners. Because I mean, literally...